Recording voiced by Ivona.com. Horse Guards is a large building in the Palladian style, between Whitehall and Horse Guards Parade. It was built between 1751 and 1753, by John Vardy, to a design by William Kent. The building was constructed on the site of the guardhouse of the old Whitehall Palace, which had been destroyed by fire in 1698. The history of the grounds goes back to 1533, when Henry VIII, passionate about horsemanship and tournaments, commissioned a tilt yard, or jousting ground, on the site where Horse Guards now stands. Queen Elizabeth I, also extremely fond of the tilt yard pageantry, instituted 2 annual festivals, on her accession day and her birthday. To this day, the tradition of royal birthday celebrations continues with the annual Trooping the Colour Parade. Military presence on Horse Guards began in December 1641, when King Charles I commissioned a court to house his personal guards and to protect the Whitehall Palace. Only 7 years later, on a cold January day, in 1649, the king was brought from St. James's Palace to the Horse Guards, to the banqueting house in Whitehall, where a scaffold had been erected. Since then, a black mark on both clock faces commemorates the time of his execution at 2 p.m. After the Restoration in May 1660, Charles II, needing a trusted military guard, created the original Household Cavalry, Grenadier and Coldstream Guards. As no such standing army had ever existed, and there were no barracks to house them, in 1663, Charles had the first Horse Guards building constructed on the old tilt yard. The Household Cavalry sentries stood guard in their sentry boxes as today, with duty detachments providing traveling escorts whenever members of the royal family left the Whitehall. At that time, the only entrance to the palace was through the Horse Guards building, and entry was strictly controlled by a system of passes. This tradition continues today, and only the monarch has the right to ride the Horse Guards Arch, without displaying a pass to sentries. In 1698, the Palace of Whitehall was almost completely destroyed by fire, and the royal court moved to St. James's Palace, in the park behind Horse Guards. Having always had the palace in front of them to guard, overnight the guards found that responsibility transferred to its rear. However, to this day, Horse Guards remain as the only official entrance to the royal court. Over the years the old building, used as a military administrative base, had fallen into disrepair. In 1745, King George II agreed to replace the building, and the design was entrusted to William Kent. The new building was intended as a dramatic Palladian-style entrance to what was going to be a new palace, where the old Palace of Whitehall had stood. However, George III, instead, bought Buckingham House as his principal residence. Visit Ivona.com. Create and download recordings voiced by Ivona Voices.